Prequels are always fun. It's always cool to look back and see where a character came from and how a story developed. For instance, if you did a prequel of this show, it'd be starring this guy. Yikes. Well, luckily, he found these, and he turned into this guy. Camera adds 10 pounds. And it's a webcam, so it probably adds even more than that. Yikes.
We put this festival on you bastards with a lot of love. We worked for 1 year for you pigs. And you want to break our walls down? And you want to destroy it? Well, you go to hell.
The sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
Movies move pretty fast. If there's not somebody around to review them for you once in a while, you could miss them. Final cuts back with the first episode of the second season, and we're headed back to the merry old land of Oz to see how James Franco became the wizard in Oz the Great and Powerful. It's like our 1939 classic. This one starts out in Kansas with Oscar, Zoroaster, Phaedric, Isaac, Norman, Henkel, Emmanuel Ambrose, aka Oz, and he's a circus magician. And he's just really not a good guy. He runs into some trouble at the circus, and some guys are chasing him, so he makes an escape in a hot air balloon. And of course, he flies this hot air balloon right into a cyclone, which takes him through some crazy portal and ends up in the land of Oz. And myself, I was just happy that when he got there, we didn't see Schillinger Nazi raping Beecher. Different kind of Oz. But I was excited for this movie. I'm not a huge James Franco fan, I'll be honest. And especially when I heard that originally this part was supposed to go to Robert Downey Jr., but he was making the Avengers and Iron Man and another Sherlock Holmes, so he dropped out. And then they were going to give it to Johnny Depp, but he was too tired from ruining one of my other childhood favorite movies. Yeah, thanks a lot for that. But James Franco, I was expecting him to not be good in this, and he surprised me. I really liked him in this. The one thing that I was disappointed with is when, you're waiting for the prequel for The Wizard of Oz, the most watched movie of all time. I'm like, oh, great, how are they going to work in the Scarecrow and the Lion, and will they mention Dorothy or the Tin Man? And these are maybe the most recognizable movie characters of all time. And I'm thinking, Disney, you really dropped the ball not using any of them. But then I did a little research, and I figured out that Warner Brothers owns the right to the 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz. And what Disney commissioned were the right to the books, the Wizard of Oz books. So they were not allowed to use any likenesses or anything from the movie that did not also appear in the book. So what this meant is they couldn't use the Tin Man, or talk about Dorothy, or the Scarecrow, or the Cowardly Lion, or call the witch the Wicked Witch of the West, or even use the Ruby Slippers. They even had to change the way that the Emerald City looked, and change the color of the witch's face, because Warner Brothers said that the original way they did it, the colors were too similar. So that's why it was kind of like a weird looking green that the witch was. So you almost have to ask yourself, is it worth making the movie? You're going on this huge name recognition. You're going to have all these people coming in expecting The Wizard of Oz, and if that's what you're doing, you're going to be disappointed. It's an entertaining movie. There's good performances from the new characters. Zach Braff as the monkey did a really great job, and they had a real interesting character with the China doll. Not a fan of Mila Kunis in this one, I gotta say. I really like Mila Kunis Not so much in this one. I just thought that maybe she was miscast a little bit and just a wrong person for the role. Doing a prequel is hard enough because you don't have a lot of wiggle room with the character arc. Like, you can't really put the wizard in a real dangerous situation where it looks like life or death, because you know he lives because he's in the next movie on. So they were really kind of starting behind the 8 ball already, and then this whole thing with Warner Brothers, and they couldn't use any of the older characters. They're really digging themselves a hole. But if you don't go in with the expectation it's going to be another Wizard of Oz, you're going to be plenty entertained. And it's Sam Raimi, so you know it's a CGI fest, which it was. But it's okay. It works. I'd rate it a solid 7, I think. Not the blockbuster I was hoping for, but it's worth the money. So I'd recommend you go out and see it. So that's it for this week. The show should be coming pretty regular now that I'm back going to the movies. So until then, thanks for watching. See you next time. And don't miss the previews.
I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching if I only had a brain. I'd unravel every riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain.